All right. It's Sunday and it's time to look ahead of what the coming market is going to do because this gives you an insight, all right, to make an educated bet or educated trade to position yourself now before the market opens tomorrow and try to make some money this week even though the market are still choppy. All right, so let's look at what will move the market one direction or another and how you can prepare in order to make some money. All right, so we're looking at Investopedia on the main things, the main events, the main data, the main indicators coming next week on the market that are potentially going to move it either up and down. All right. So first thing coming up next week, May CPI inflation and the June consumer sentiment reading. All right. The CPI is the consumer price index. This is the indicator that it's measuring how inflation is being felt by consumers like you and I. All right. So in the month of April, it started ticking down a little bit because inflation is a big deal. Inflation right now is the biggest risk that investors are seeing because inflation means, well, the economy might not continue to grow as fast and high as we want it. But on the other hand, inflation means the Federal Reserve, as the U.S. Central Bank, needs to do something to prevent that from happening. And that's something usually, goes along the lines of reducing the demand. So in one hand, people are kind of stressed out that the economy is going to continue to grow. But on the same point, what is causing that fear, which is inflation, is also causing the central bank from preventing the economy from growing. Because if people keep buying stuff, the prices are likely to go down, which inflation will still be very high, and the market will not likely go up. Stocks will not likely go up if inflation continue to go down. Continue to stay high. So it's kind of a conundrum for the U.S. Central Bank right now. But as I mentioned many times in my videos this week and past week, we have never been in such a spot. But if this week, which by the way is going to be disclosed on Friday, you can see here Friday, June 10, US inflation rates for the month of May, and the Michigan consumer sentiment for a preliminary rating of June. If these two are also confirming that we also have a downtick, a downtick on inflation, then maybe the market is going to continue to run, or it's going to, jump based on this news. Why? Because inflation is still the number one concern of investors during this economic period. All right. So we also have earnings that are coming. So earnings on Monday, we do have health equity, not a huge market mover. Trip.com, very important because Trip.com is also part of the travel. So if bookings and the numbers coming from Trip.com are good, it means the demand might not be dead, which is good for the company, but is it good for the economy? Because right now, bad news is good news, if you see what I mean. And then we have the US export and import growth. We have the Japan GDP growth and the S&P Global UK Services PMI. So not a lot of moving there, but still something to keep in mind. Earnings on Five Below and Campbell Soup, and then the GDP coming from the Euro, the whole European Union as a sector, as an area. And then Thursday, we have the earnings from DocuSign, China inflation rate, ECB interest rate decision. So all of these two here can give us a clear indication on what is happening in other markets, in other countries, in other regions of the world outside of the North America. One, in terms of inflation and what their central banks are doing for, in order to fight that. So lots of things to happen again in the front of inflation coming next week. But if we look at what the market closed on Friday for the week, so for the 5 days, the Dow Jones is kind of flat. The Dow Jones is kind of flat. If you compare that to the NASDAQ and you add the S&P 500, you can see that, for the 5 days, it's pretty much the same thing, that we're kind of flat on all of three. So maybe this means a bottom has been reached. Maybe, just maybe, but based on inflation being still at the center of next week economic data and some earnings, I wouldn't be surprised if the market continued to trade sideways this next week, and unless we have some relief coming from the CPI, the Chinese inflation rate, GDP growth from euro, etc., etc. So still expect a lot of volatility happening in the market coming this week. Now, how can you prepare for this? Right, you can pretty much trade earnings, as we mentioned, on the companies that are going to disclose this week. But if you have a small account, let's just say you have 500 or maybe $1,000, you can open up an account, in a platform that allows you to trade, futures, mini futures. It gives you the ability to trade the whole market, by buying the Dow Jones or by buying the S&P 500, by buying the oil, by buying all of the indexes in the European market, the Asian markets, and you can also trade crypto. So that gives you the ability to position a trade based on what is coming. So if you feel like earnings are going to be good for these companies, you can place a trade. But if you want to trade the whole market, as we closed on the red on Friday for pretty much all major indexes in the US, there is a likelihood that on Monday the market can rebound. So if the market rebounds on Monday because we pretty much have nothing on the calendar in terms of events, then it could be a relief. A relief means the market is going to go up. So if you trade the major index, you can make some money if the market goes up, and then you get out. And on Tuesday, you have indicators coming from Japan, and the UK. So not much coming from the market. The market can continue to sustain given what it does on Monday. So another opportunity for you to make money. But the bottom line is, if you use these indicators, if you use these to prepare for the coming week, you can pretty much find good deals, in terms of where to make money. It doesn't matter if it's in stocks. It doesn't matter if it's in crypto. It doesn't matter if it's in Forex. It doesn't matter if it's in, the market using futures. All right. So let me know in the comment section if it's something that you would be interested into diving into deeper. We can have, live streaming sessions, educating, learning and sharing tips, insights on how to make money on a daily basis. You only need 500 to make, maybe, you only need to make $50 a day in order to have 50, a week and a month. That is 1,000 there, 1,000 on a month just trading with $500. So please let me know in the comment section if it's something you'll be interested in. This is something I've been doing. This is something I continue to do, but things are like right now, and I know.